Imagine the president of Turkey standing on the world stage, making not one, but two earth-shattering declarations about Israel that send shockwaves through global diplomacy. One statement cuts through decades of tension with bold new demands. Another flips the narrative on its head, challenging long-held assumptions. What happens next could redefine alliances, ignite regional upheaval, and change the political map forever. Stay tuned. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into a recent move that has stunned diplomacy experts and heads of state alike. President Erdogan's double declaration against Israel. We'll explore it through multiple lenses, arguments around its performance, its implications for safety, both physical and geopolitical, its unique selling points in the arena of political strategy, and what this might cost in terms of price. By the end, you'll understand not just what Erdogan said, but what it means for Turkey, for Israel, and for the world. Interior. The heart of the matter lies in Erdogan's twin declarations. The first deals with Israel's policies toward Palestine, condemning certain actions as violations of international law. The second is an escalation, a new proposal for diplomatic severance or demand for reparations, combined with a call for international intervention. These pronouncements weren't vague, each was precise enough to raise eyebrows in capitals from Washington to Jerusalem, from Brussels to Cairo. Performance. This double declaration performs on several levels. On the rhetorical stage, it delivers. Erdogan has always been a consummate orator, skilled at speaking directly to national sentiment, religious identity, and regional pride. These declarations reinforce his image at home as a strong protector of Muslim causes, boosting national unity. At the same time, their performance pieces toward the international community aimed at shaming observers, rallying other Muslim majority states, challenging Western duplicity. Strategically timed, they force Israel and its allies into response. That's part of the performance art of diplomacy. On the operational stage, the declarations carry weight. Ruling party apparatus, media, foreign policy channels are mobilized to push these ideas. There's an attempt to translate words into diplomatic pressure, recalling ambassadors, condemning Israeli actions in international forums, seeking votes in the UN or in regional bodies. So performance isn't merely verbal. It's about how quickly and decisively Turkey seeks to change the status quo. The speed with which Erdogan's government followed up with actions, statements, diplomatic démarches, shows that this is more than just political theater. Yet performance has risks. Words can provoke backlash. Israel may reciprocate with diplomatic, economic, even military countermeasures. Allies may distance themselves. Some domestic constituencies may applaud, others fear escalation. Whether these declarations actually yield change is uncertain. Performance is necessary, but not sufficient. Safety features. In geopolitical terms, safety features mean what safeguard measures Erdogan has in place and what the threats are. On the positive side, Turkey enjoys a strategic depth. Its alliances with NATO, though complicated, with various regional actors, its economic ties, its defense capabilities. These give Erdogan room to maneuver without being wholly isolated. Also, Turkey has long cultivated soft power in the Muslim world. Cultural diplomacy, media outreach, support for causes, which acts as a buffer. When he criticizes Israel, many states and publics respond sympathetically, reducing risk of reputational damage. Moreover, there is internal safety. Erdogan's political base, especially among conservative, nationalist, and religious voters, is likely to support strong actions against perceived injustice in Palestine. That domestic support insulates him from internal political fallout to some extent. On the flip side, safety risks are many. Diplomatic isolation is one. Israel has powerful allies. Retaliation may come in the form of sanctions, trade restrictions, international legal challenges. Military escalation is a risk if tensions escalate at borders or through proxies. Turkey could become a target of harsher criticism in Western capitals, risking aid, investment, or cooperation. There's also economic risk. Markets don't like uncertainty. Lira volatility, investor fears about instability, could hit Turkey. Internally, communities opposed to escalation or fearing conflict may push back. Turkey's safety net may be strained if international norms demand consequences for declarations perceived as inflammatory. The balance between powerful rhetoric and avoidance of escalation must be carefully managed, something Erdogan will have considered but not guaranteed safe. Unique selling points, what makes these declarations stand out, what gives them power beyond standard political speech. First is the dual nature, the fact that there are two declarations, each reinforcing the other. One establishes a moral/legal critique, the other stakes more concrete demands. This doubling amplifies the message, making it harder for critics to say he only said one thing, it was symbolic. The doubling also lets Erdogan appeal to multiple audiences: human rights advocates, international law purists, domestic supporters of Palestine, religious leaders, nationalists. Each declaration can be picked up by a different community, spiraling the impact. Second, clarity mixed with ambiguity, strong words, legal claims, diplomatic threats, but also vague enough in implementation that Erdogan retains flexibility. Part of the uniqueness is this balance, calling out Israel in very public forums, but leaving open what exactly severance or reparations might look like, what time frame, under which circumstances. That gives Erdogan negotiation leverage. Third, timing. The declarations didn't happen in a vacuum. They ride atop a wave of international concern about Gaza, settlements, international law, and mounting global criticism of Israel. By acting now, Erdogan taps into existing momentum. He risks less of being dismissed as opportunistic and more of being seen as leader in solidarity. Thus, these declarations stand out in how they seize a moment. Fourth, Turkey's position allows it to play both regional power broker and moral voice. Unlike some states who are purely moral critics or purely strategic rivals, Turkey can claim both moral high ground for defending human rights and strategic interest in regional balance. This dual claim strengthens the unique selling point. The declarations aren't purely symbolic. They are wrapped in strategy and identity. Price, now let's talk cost. Not just monetary, but diplomatic, political, economic. First, diplomatic price. By making bold declarations, Turkey risks straining relations with Israel's allies. The US, European states, and possibly Arab governments that prefer quiet diplomacy may see this as provocative. They might respond with criticism, withdraw support in other issues, trade, security cooperation, or even impose penalties, formal or informal. Turkey could lose leverage in negotiations with those states over unrelated issues, migration, trade, military procurement, due to reduced trust or perceived unpredictability. Politically, domestically, there could be trade-offs. Some Turks who favor more moderate foreign policy may view escalation as dangerous. If economic fallout or diplomatic isolation hits, public opinion could turn. Erdogan's coalition may face pressure from business communities or international investors who worry about stability. Economically, the cost could be real. Foreign investment might drop. Trade disruptions may emerge if import or export relationships with Israel or its allies suffer spillover. Sanctions are a risk. Over certain declarations, some states might push for restriction. Tourism could be affected if perceptions of instability rise. Lira volatility could increase. Inflation or supply chain challenges could worsen. Militarily or security. Wise, the cost could be increased risk of conflict at the borders or via proxy actors. Iran, Hezbollah, or Palestinian groups might respond to escalated rhetoric, possibly increasing attacks or hostilities. Turkey may have to increase its military readiness, divert resources from other priorities. Beyond this, there's reputational cost. If declarations are not followed by effective action, the world might see them as empty talk. If they lead to negative outcomes, Turkey's standing as a responsible regional power might be damaged, especially among states who value restraint. Conclusion: Erdogan's double declaration against Israel is a bold, high-stakes move, a gamble that mixes moral outrage, political theater, diplomatic pressure, and strategic timing. It performs strongly, it rallies certain audiences, seizes attention, forces responses. It carries safety features in Turkey's alliances, rising regional influence, domestic political base, but also pronounced risks, diplomatic blowback, economic instability, military tensions, hedging among allies. What makes it unique is its dual structure, its timing, and Erdogan's ability to straddle moral arguments and strategic interest. It's not simply protest or accusation, it's a push to reshape narratives, to reposition Turkey in the regional order, to call for real consequence. The price is non-trivial. In diplomacy, in economy, perhaps even in security. For Turkey, the cost must be measured not just in what is sacrificed today, but what is set in motion for tomorrow. So, is this double declaration likely to achieve change? That depends on a few variables: how Israel responds, how international bodies and major powers engage, whether Turkey can sustain pressure, whether it is willing to follow rhetoric with actionable diplomacy, possibly economic or legal initiatives. If yes, this could mark a turning point in Turkey-Israel relations and echo far beyond. If not, it could fizzle into yet another chapter in regional tension.